So good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming. I want to welcome everyone to our 4th annual induction ceremony to Psi Alpha. My name is Suzanne Nardone, and I'm a member of the Timber Creek Social Studies Department. I teach AP Psych, Psych 1 and 2, Sociology, and U.S. History. Joining me tonight, we have 25 senior student inductees that have successfully met the requirements for membership into the High School National Psychology Honor Society, Psi Alpha. And just as a little side note too, there's a Psi Beta for 2-year colleges. I don't even know if I told everybody this. There's a Psi Beta for 2-year colleges and a Psi Chi for 4-year colleges. So if you do go on to 2 or 4-year college, you can always look for that. I'd like to acknowledge our esteemed guests tonight that are here with us. Mr. DeMalo is our Senior Vice Principal. Ms. Serrano is our freshman class Vice Principal. And tonight, to begin our ceremony, I would like to ask Ms. McKenzie, our principal, to come up and say a few words.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Oh, come on, y'all can do better than that. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Right, that's better. Now, out of everything I get to do as principal, honoring good students for good things is by far one of my favorite responsibilities. I am proud to celebrate this achievement with you tonight, but let me first tell you a story about my today. Just a few hours ago, I fell at the Hallmark store. Yup, my knees hit the ground, my phone flew out of my pocket, and my soul was ready to explode. I wish I could say that I was doing something super exciting, but in reality, I just tripped over my super cute pants. Now, the first thing I did was look around to see who was watching. Here's the second thing I did. I got up and I walked into my purpose. With holy pants and questionable confidence, I walked into the store because, gosh darn it, my dad was getting a birthday card. Now, one lady even complimented me on my pants. She clearly didn't see the holes in them now. And the last thing I did was to reflect. That was quite the circumstance, and they were really cool pants, but I didn't get discouraged. I'm sore, I'm not broken, and I instead focused on the good. There's a point to this story, I promise. Don't fall outside of the Hallmark store. Instead, fall in love with the process of becoming the best version of yourself. I encourage you to look around and see who's watching. Notice your families, Ms. Nardone, our guest speaker, and our building administration. They are your squad, and your squad deserves your gratitude. These are the people who encourage your greatness. Thank them and give them a round of applause. Next, I'm not done. Walk into your purpose. Be confident in who you are and proud of the person you are becoming. You are an incredible human with limitless potential, and I am proud of you. Lastly, reflect on the good. Countless homeworks and headaches have delivered you exactly to the very moment before you, and you have worked very hard. The next stop on the Charger train is graduation, my friends, and we are all charged up to embrace that magic. Charger family, thank you all for supporting our program, our students, and the needs of our community. Your advisor is awesome, your families are fantastic, and you, my friends, are true perfection.
Thank you, Ms. McKenzie, and thank you for changing your holy pants too. So we are here to acknowledge the dedication, the sacrifices, the perseverance, and the hard work that each of these 25 students has made over the past 4 years of their high school career. Amid a worldly pandemic, remote learning, the return to their senior year in person to school, and everything else that is going on in our chaotic and crazy world, these students have embraced the changes and continue to focus on their goals and future plans. And I will say, in 4 years of doing this, and I complimented them the other day when we did practice, this was the first group that I didn't have to chase anybody down for money or for joining Google Classroom. They were all here, except for maybe one who got the time wrong, a little bit late, that's okay. They were all here, and they were all here on time. So these students that you see in front of you are definitely great kids and have a great future ahead of them. Among this group, we have future doctors, nurses, mathematicians, psychiatrists, sociologists, accountants, business persons, physical therapists, and public relation representatives. When I called them up a little bit later in the ceremony, you'll see a bio that's going to be on the slide screen, and they've indicated what their major is, so I've gathered that information and just gave you a snippet of what these students will become someday. So yes, they can be cranky, moody teenagers. Believe me, I have two of my own at home, but this group of young adults are determined and destined for success. So tonight is a new opportunity for everyone, and for the students to be recognized and inducted into SciAlpha. Congratulations, as this is truly an honor. Since our school is only one of 4 schools in the state of New Jersey that has a SciAlpha charter. We were the 2nd school in the state to receive it, and actually the first, and I don't even know if you all know this, the first in the state to have an induction ceremony, which took place 4 years ago. So I'm privileged and honored to be here tonight with everyone to officially induct the 25 outstanding students into SciAlpha. So at this time, I'd like to give you some background information about what SciAlpha is. There is some information in your program, and I'm going to read a little bit of that. In 2018, SciAlpha was actually founded to recognize the scholastic achievements and interest in psychology of high school students. SciAlpha provides national recognition and serves as an aid for stimulating interest in psychology as an academic and professional field of endeavor. The knowledge gained from the study of psychology is applicable to any career the student may choose. Through SciAlpha, students feel a sense of community with others in psychology, and they learn more about the larger field of psychology. But above all, membership in SciAlpha is a well-respected credential for achievement and acknowledges interest in psychology early in one's educational career. Speaking of educational careers, our guest speaker tonight will be talking about her own personal experiences while furthering her education after graduating from Timber Creek in 2014. Before I introduce her, I want to tell you a little bit about her. Amanda Brent was actually in my very first AP Psychology course section at Timber Creek. Her sister, Natalie, who also joined us tonight, fresh home from college in her 5-hour drive from James Madison, was also in one of my psychology courses as well. Amanda was a standout student athlete at Timber Creek. She went on to attend Eastern University and play women's basketball. When I asked Amanda to speak at tonight's ceremony, and actually I just went up to her and told her that she really didn't have a choice, that I needed her to speak, and she said okay. I asked her to send me some information about what she had been doing since she had graduated from Timber Creek. I knew that Amanda was working in the field of psychology, but I was really amazed and impressed with her commitment to working in various aspects of psychology. I don't want to give too much away because Amanda's going to speak about this in her and share some information with you. She's currently working toward her master's degree, is employed as a behavioral technician, and serves as Timber Creek's assistant girls basketball coach. On a personal note, and I look back, I've known the Riff family for over 14 years, as all 3 of their intelligent, talented, and beautiful young ladies graduated from Timber Creek. I've had the pleasure of being their teacher, their advisor, and their coach, and have to say they're an amazing group of girls. Their mother is here tonight. Their father, as I was going to say, I would be remiss if I didn't mention their parents and your grandparents, who are their #1 fans. I think your father, Mr. Riff, attended every basketball game that you girls have ever played, and still comes all decked out in Timber Creek gear to watch you coach. So please join me in welcoming one of Timber Creek's finest graduates, Miss Amanda Brent.
Hi everyone, my name is Amanda Riff, and like Ms. Nardone already said, I graduated from Timber Creek in 2014. So I'm just going to give you a presentation, a little bit about myself and why I'm presenting this message to you. But before we get started, I first wanted to thank Ms. Nardone for having me and all of Timber Creek, and I wanted to congratulate all of you for being conducted into the Honor Society for Psychology. So, the title of my presentation is called Not Knowing is Okay. The purpose of my presentation is to tell all of you guys a little bit about my history and how I got to where I am today, and why not knowing what you want to do in your future is in fact okay. So let's get started. So I quickly wanted to share a quote with you written by C.S. Lewis, which I thought was relevant to my presentation for tonight. And it says, "You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending." And I thought this was really relevant to what I'll be speaking to you about tonight, because it doesn't matter where you are in your life. You can start at any point, change a career, change a job, a major in college, it doesn't matter. And you'll be able to be successful no matter what, you just put your mind to it. Okay, so a little bit about me. So I grew up in Sicklerville. I went to Union Valley Elementary School. Fun fact, I was actually the first class when the school opened to start from kindergarten to graduate all the way to 5th grade. I then attended Anna Mullen Middle School, and then here to Timber Creek. And like I said, 2014 with Mr. D'Amato. So while I was at Timber Creek, I participated in a lot of sports and was a part of a lot of clubs. I did basketball and tennis for 4 years while I was here. I also participated in track and field and softball. I was a part of the Buddy Club. I was inducted into the National Honor Society. And I was my student class president for my freshman, sophomore, and junior year. So like I mentioned, I graduated in 2014. When you get to this point where you guys are at now, you start to decide, what do you want to do with your life? Most of the time, it's wanting to go to college. So at this point in my life, I knew the one thing I wanted to do was play college basketball. So that was my main goal. Of course, academics was most important. I was getting the pressure from my parents, but my main goal was basketball. So I applied to 8 different colleges, and for all 8 of those, I talked to all the basketball coaches. But I didn't know what I wanted to do academically. I thought psychology would be a good way to go, or education. That's always the easy route. So I was going with psychology. And so I ended up deciding to attend Eastern University, which is located in St. David's, Pennsylvania, which is about 5 minutes from Villanova. And at Eastern, I was able to declare my major as psychology my freshman year. But again, when you go to college, you declare a major and hope that that's what it's going to be, but it could very well change. So I then also was able to play 4 years of college basketball, and I was luckily able to play college tennis as well while I was there. I ended up receiving my bachelor's in psychology, so it didn't end up changing. So I went with that, and I graduated in May of 2018. So at this point in my life, I had a psychology degree. Now, what do I do with that? Psychology is a pretty broad major. I didn't know what that meant for me career-wise, if I needed to follow through with a master's degree, if I just go for a job. There was a lot of unknowns. So, in my point of life, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was receiving a lot of pressure from teachers and family, whether I was going to get my master's. That's like the next best thing for me. And most jobs now, you do need a master's. I was getting questioned by my parents. Are you going to get a job? Are you going to go to school? What are you going to do with yourself? Living situation. You guys will experience this, but living at home and then moving to college, you don't want to go back home. But I had to figure that out for myself, what I was going to do. So there were so many unanswered questions that I had to figure out, and I was left not knowing. So now it was time for me to decide, do I want to go to grad school? Do I want to go and get a job? Or am I just going to stay home and lay with my dog, which is the option my parents definitely did not want. So for me, I didn't know what I wanted to do next in my career or academics, so I decided to get a job. When I was in my senior year at college, I did my internship at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia for the Center for ADHD. And I was able to do a lot of research and collect a lot of data and learn a lot about what CHOP does with children and ADHD. So when I graduated from Eastern, I thought that I might as well just get another job and try to learn more about the world of psychology and see what I actually wanted to do. So there was a position available for the Center for Autism Research. I applied for that position and obviously moved back home. And I was hired in June of 2018, so a month after graduating. So when I was working at CAR at CHOP, I was able to gain a lot of experience, which is what I really needed because I did not know what I wanted to do next with my career or academics. While I worked at CHOP, I completed a lot of phone screening with parents, I collected a lot of data, and I was able to get a really good sense of what it looks like to work with kids on the spectrum. And that was one of my main interests, is working with kids who have an autism diagnosis. So this position I got was typically a 2-year position. Everyone in this position is hired, it's pretty temporary, you typically move on after 2 years. Well, I got to 2 years and I still did not know what I wanted to do, which was okay, but I needed to decide what I was going to do next. So I luckily was offered a promotion to stay for another year, and this was going into COVID year, so I had to really figure this one out. But in my 3rd year there, I was able to gain even more experience than what I had already done. And I was able to talk to more of my coworkers, my supervisors, and people within CHOP to learn about the different jobs available for me. Like I said, psychology is pretty broad, so you can go into research, you can go into private practice, I can become a doctor and get my PhD, which I know I did not want to do for merciful. So while I was at CHOP, like I said, I was able to gain a lot of experience. I was able to see a lot of kids on the spectrum and help them get resources and provide diagnoses with my licensed clinicians working there. Like I said, worked on building connections within CHOP. So one of my main priorities was to talk to people at CHOP who could give me some insight and the available opportunities for me. I asked a lot of questions, which I think is always most important. Even doing so at a young age now when you're an undergrad, asking questions and figuring out what opportunities are available for you was definitely most important. And lastly, I would always recommend for people who are trying to figure out what they want to do is observing. I luckily had the opportunity at CHOP and when I was in my undergrad to observe people, whether that was in settings that I didn't know if I wanted to do or something I was really interested in. So you'll see in the next slide. I then became interested in a couple different areas, a little all over the place. My first interest was in speech-language pathology, SLP. I thought this was it. This is what I wanted to do. So I took 4 courses at LaSalle University online. I took 4, and after those 4, I said, no, this is not it. I don't want to learn about the anatomy of the mouth. And then I got interested in occupational therapy. I've been an athlete my whole life, so I thought, this is it. This is definitely it. I observed, asked questions, not for me, definitely not. So then I thought, okay, maybe school. Maybe I wanted to go into special education and teach. Well, I observed some teachers, I asked around, and being in a classroom with children of 20 kids, I cannot handle it. So then I came across clinical counseling, and this is definitely something I found myself to have the most interest in. So after looking into all of these different degrees, I decided I wanted to go with clinical counseling. I applied to 5 different programs, and I accepted into Eastern's Masters of Clinical Counseling. So this is where I did my undergrad at. This will take me 3 years to complete, and it is online. And I anticipate graduating in May of 2024, so I just completed my first year. At the end of this, my goal is to become a licensed professional counselor, an LPC, and I ultimately want to work with adolescents and mental health. So I say this now, but I graduated Timber Creek in 2014 and undergrad in 2018, and I'm just now figuring this out at 26 years old. But that's okay. Some people know exactly what they want to do coming out of high school, and sometimes people have no idea. So like I mentioned, currently I just completed my first year of my master's degree. I am working for a company called Great Minds ABA Therapy, where I'm a registered behavioral technician. I am a one-on-one aide with a child with autism. And like Ms. Nardone mentioned, I also coach basketball on the side here at Timber Creek as the assistant coach. My biggest takeaway from all this is that gaining experience has been by far the best thing for me. I wouldn't be able to know what I want to do in my life if it wasn't for having all the jobs that I've taken and asked questions and talked to the people around me. So, what's the point of my conversation and my presentation to you? Like the picture says, uncertainty is ahead, and that is true for everyone, especially for you guys into my life. You guys may have an idea going into college what you want to do, but that may not be the same thing you end up graduating with, which is okay. So some key points from what I've been discussing with you. First is not everything will go as planned. Like I mentioned, you may go into college thinking you want to do something, and then after seeing it and learning about it and doing your own research, you may realize that that is definitely something you don't want to do, which is exactly what I experienced. But also, not having a plan ready does not mean that there is not a plan ready for you. Just because you go into college and you go in undecided for a major, that doesn't mean there's not something available and perfect for what you want to do eventually in your career. One of the biggest things that I have learned is building connections with people around you. This is definitely a big thing that I've learned because I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for talking to people and asking questions and learning about other people's past to know what I can do. That's why I love talking to Ms. Nardone all the time. I see Mr. DeMalo all the time. I'm in Timber Creek almost all the time. But if it wasn't for me seeking out and building those connections with people, even the people at CHOP, you know, it really helps you. It really helps put you in a really good situation in your future. Another big thing I like to point out to young people is get experience in the working field. There's nothing wrong with coming out of your undergrad and finding a job before going into your master's if that's something you don't know what you want to do yet. If it wasn't for working in the field, I wouldn't have known what I really wanted to do. And then lastly, do what feels right, not what you think must be done. Oftentimes, a lot of children get pressure from their parents thinking that they have to do what their parents doing, because that's what the legacy was in the family. And you may have your own path, and you can direct it in your own way, and that's not always one straight line. There might be curves in it, and that's okay, but at the end of the day, you'll reach where you need to go and where you need to be, and as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. So to wrap it up, again, not knowing is okay. You will figure it out as you grow and as you gain experience and build connections, and you will be successful. Congratulations to you guys.
Thank you, Amanda, and we wish you luck in all your future endeavors in working in the field of psychology. And her words of advice, as I was listening to some of the things she said, even graduating with a degree in psychology, I had very similar experiences. When I graduated, my dad looked at me and said, "Now what?" I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. And it's taken me until last year to get my master's degree. So she had some really good words of advice, and I hope that all of you heed her advice and take that into account as you embark on your future endeavors. So at this time, we're going to actually begin the induction of the new members of Psi Alpha. Psi Alpha recognizes outstanding psychology students, promotes excellence in scholarship, leadership, research, and community service. Once a student has earned the honor and has been inducted, membership is for life. The criteria for candidacy at Timber Creek must be a senior, an A average finishing in Psych 1 and Psych 2, or a B or better in an advanced placement study. So as each student's name is called, they're going to come up. My helpers are going to hand out their stuff. They're going to receive a certificate, an honor cord, and a candle. And then their personal bios, I'll kind of highlight some of them, I'll put them up in a second, about each inductee, you can see presented. And the student slides, they include the college they're going to attend, their major, why they like psychology or how it has helped them, who they would like to thank, and a famous quote or words of advice. So let me just switch this. So, as your name is called, as I said, you'll come up and you'll grab your things and you'll go back to your seat. Our first inductee is Simechi and yeah. Simechi is going to Cannon County and going into the field of nursing. Next, we have Brianna Baylor. Brianna was accepted into Thomas Jefferson University, majoring in nursing, and hoping to become a labor and delivery nurse in the future with us. Next is Sierra Burke. And Sierra is studying in psychology. I hope you were paying attention, Sierra. Next is Jada Beggins. Jada is planning on going to Rutgers in New Brunswick and majoring in biological sciences. Mr. Ryan Ford, our only male inductee. He's going to Susquehanna to major in business management. Kaylee Fryer. And Kaylee is going to Rowan College of South Jersey to major in physical education. Our next inductee. Julie Gordon. Julie is from Monmouth with pursuing a degree in business. There were 2 students that had the 4+1 MBA, which is really great, getting your master's in 5 years. All right. All right, Emma, right? All right, let's try this. I think it's going to be right. Okay, next is Emma. I knew that. Emma Jordan. Emma, sorry. Come on. Emma Green, sorry, come up. Emma's going to Candidacy College for Teachers of Liberal Arts and then trying to go to a 4-year college for digital marketing. All right. Next is Lauren Heathman. Lauren is going to somewhere. There we go. Try. Yeah, I'll do it. Yes. So Lauren's going to Rowan to study international relations, and she hopes to study abroad multiple times. Yes. Our next inductee is Michelle Hicks. Michelle is going to Canyon County, majoring in mathematics. Emma Jordan. Emma's future plans include going to the College of New Jersey to study finance and to continue playing field hockey. Kayla Kozarowski. Kayla is planning on going to Westchester to study exercise science in a pre-physical therapy program and minor in psych. Good job. Next, Emily Leszewski. Emily is going to McDaniel College with a double major in political science and sociology. Next is Johnny Lodies. Johnny is going to Widener, and she plans to study psychology and mental health. And then we have Alexander Mangini. Alex is going to Widener. Oh, you're in the 4+3 program. Okay. So we have the 4+3 psych and pre-occupational therapy. Our next inductee is Isabella Vignon. Isabella is going to Florida Atlantic University, and she's going to swim with the dolphins, right? And study biological science. Next, Ms. Kira Miller. Kira is going to Lehigh, majoring in marketing. We have a really diverse group of kids, which I absolutely love. Jasleen Watani. Jasleen is going to Thomas Jefferson. Thank you, biochemistry. Miss Lovely Watani. Lovely is going to the University of Sciences, and she was accepted into the doctoral of physical therapy program. Riley O'Donnell. Riley's hands are going keen, and she's going to study psychiatric rehabilitation. Angelina Zapata. Angelina is going to RCSJ, and she's going to study ultrasound. Next is Miss Shannon Russ. Shannon is going to the University of Delaware with a degree in cognitive science and a pre-speech language pathology. Madison Saunders. Where you going, Madison? Drexel. Madison going to Drexel to major in business. There we go. And she was accepted into the honors program at Drexel. Miss Tatum Silo. Tatum is going to Widener to pursue a degree in marketing. And our last inductee is Leah Thuddy. Leah is going to Rutgers University in Camden, in the honors program, majoring in accounting. Thank you. Okay, so at this time, I will ask the inductees to stand. I'm going to light their candle. And they will read together in unison. They'll be reading the pledge. Hopefully.
Everybody.
Good job, everyone. So congratulations, and before we end officially tonight's ceremony, I want to thank the parents, caregivers, and other family members who have taken time out of their busy day and night to be with us tonight. And I also want to ask that each of our students give your parents, family, friends, caregivers a round of applause just as a thank you to acknowledge them. Okay, really give them a round of applause. All right, you can hug them later, I think. So just remember, without the help of your family and friends, you would not be who you are today. You can blame them for your faults and your imperfections, but you should also acknowledge all that they have sacrificed for you. Once again, congratulations to the inductees. Your commitment to Timber Creek and all that it has to offer has brought you here tonight. You are the future. Achieve great things, acquire knowledge, and never forget people that have helped you along your way.